Are you ready to hit the ground running on this year? Or are you still looking back at 2023 like a Spotify rap playlist? If it's the latter, don't worry, we're in the same boat. Because tonight, I'm crowning my top tasted whiskey for 2023. Stay tuned.
Simple whiskey, Cyncere. Here to keep it 100. What's the ABV? Keep it simple. Simple whiskey. And be sweeter.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Simple Whiskey Show. First and foremost, Happy New Year. Tonight, I'm going to be blind tasting my top whiskeys of 2023, crowning a champion, and looking forward to moving into this year. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell to stay up to date on all things Simple Whiskey. Let's jump right in. This is a lineup that just makes me want to sing. The flavor profiles that are up here are just endless. The proof points are all the way from 91 up to 133. And 3 of the 4 of them are actually above 125, which may make it a little bit easy to pick out the Widow Jade, but at the end of the day, it's about what tastes best. As far as price is concerned, these range from $53 up to $100. This is going to be a fun blind. I feel like I could possibly pick out a couple of these solely based off of flavor profile and how much I actually enjoy them. But the good thing about blinds is, as you throw all of that out the window, your taste buds are always going to surprise you. You never know what is going to just hit differently on this exact night. So I'm excited to get into this one. I've been ranting and raving about Stag as well as Elijah Craig Barrel Proof since I had them. I just revisited the Widow Jane and the Mighty Fine batch during my 12 Whiskeys of Christmas series, and I knew they had to make the showdown. Who's ready to crown a king of 2023 whiskeys? I am. Let's get to sipping. The moment we've all been waiting for. So I'm going to go through each of them, eliminate one, continuously do that until I get to a winner. All right, let's start with A. Woo, definitely put my nose a little too close to the fire on that one. I get an oaky note, maybe a little bit of vanilla. Definitely an oaky note. On B, oh yeah, that's that very sweet, like a sweeter vanilla, maybe even like a maple. I think I know what this one is. Let's see how the other two fare. As for C, get like a little bit of honey, a little bit of cinnamon on the latter part of the nose. Let's take a crack at D. That is a good nose. It's like a little smoky oaky, like a brown sugar. Sweet but oaky and smoky at the same time. Let's go back in for a sip. A. Oh, that is one of the above 25 proof. Man, the amount of campfire smoke and pepper. Let's dive into the second one. That's got to be the Decadence. That is so sweet. Such a subtle maple note. It's like maple syrup drizzled on a pancake. That is good. Definitely lower proof compared to that first sip that hit me up front in the face. So far, this is a good one. Not knocking the first one, but I think that by the time I come back around and go to this one on the second sip, we'll be able to get a lot more flavor profile on it now that I'm a little warmed up. Let's dive into C. Okay, so I get a little bit of honey, a little bit of oak through the mid palate, a little bit like what is the red hots, like the cinnamon candy. So a little bit of cinnamon bite on this one too. Definitely higher proof than this one. These two are at least over 100 proof. This has got to be the Widow Jane just based off of how mellow and how smooth this one is. But let's dive into D and see what I think on this one. Okay. All right. So if I had to guess, I know the first one and the fourth one to me would be probably Stag and Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. The amount of white Kentucky Hug peppery spice that I got on both of these as the first sip of the night going through. But by the time you let them, by the time you get that mouthfeel and give them a chance to hit all of your taste buds, the smoky, oaky, campfirey taste really shines through. So I'm going to go back through them all one more time before I start eliminating, just to give a fair shake to all of them now that I'm a little bit more warmed up. So let's go back to A. Okay, so this time it's nowhere near as sparky. Didn't hit me like it did the first time. That sweet smoothness of a cherry note is coming through. The oakiness is still there on the finish. It's definitely still one of those campfire sippers. It gives you that warm Kentucky hug. But man, the flavors on this one, a little bit of that peppery note, not as much as the first go around. And I feel like the cinnamon is starting to pry through a little bit more in this one this go around as well. Let's go to B. So now that I've had all four of them, coming back to B, this one gives me a flavor of a little bit of caramel in addition to the maple syrup. But what it also does is it falls a little bit flat now. And I know that it's probably because the other ones had such a difference in proof. It's really sweet, really smooth, really good. But I don't get as much flavor as I got on the initial pass, solely probably because my palate is warmed up and the higher proof bourbons have pretty much shot my palate to a certain extent. Shocked. Pretty much shocked my palate at this point. So not as good as it was the first go around. See? This is different. It still has a decent proof on it, but maintains such a smooth honey note as soon as it hits your mouth. And then after that is where you get that cinnamon red hot candy. And like on the first one, I got a lot more cinnamon that was almost strong, fresh ground cinnamon. Whereas this, I get a sweeter cinnamon. Again, I keep thinking red hot cinnamon candies is kind of the note I get on this one. But this is definitely one to be trifled with. Let's try D. Still getting that deeper oak note on it. Definitely a campfire sipper. This is really good. Like The amount of flavor I get on this one is unmatched at this point by any of the other three. So I'm going to eliminate B first. All right, so now we're down to A, C, and D. Let's give them a shake. A. Man, I still get that peppery, almost like a cherry Dr. Pepper, like a smoky cherry Dr. Pepper note. The amount of oak and smoke that I get on this, it definitely doesn't leave anything to be desired because you get it all up front as well as through the mid palate and on the finish. The finish is extremely long and super smooth, very oaky. Again, this was the one that caught me off guard on the first sip as the first sip of the night. But the more you get into this one, the more and more you just want to continue to explore it. This is really good. Let's try C. So I get some vanilla on it this time, in addition to that cinnamony note. Still not a subtle cinnamon, still a sweeter cinnamon. Still get that honey note, but vanilla was added to the mix on this most recent sip. Let's go to D. This is so tough. A and C, or A and D, are so similar. I'm gonna have to eliminate D. So I'm stuck. I'm not stuck, but I'm left with A and C. As I compare the two, I notice A has a little bit darker color to it than C. On the nose, A gives me that quintessential bourbon nose, a little bit of caramel, but also gives me that oakiness that I like. C tends to still give me like a caramel, something sweeter. C gives me the sweeter, this gives me the heater. Let's go in for the final sips. So that darker cherry or even a black cherry note is the most prominent note. Third sip, fourth sip, whatever sip this is on this one. It's more prominent of that black cherry note. The smoky oaky is definitely tamped down as you get deeper into the glass. Everything seems to more mellow out, but in a good way. Not so much like B did when it mellowed out to the point of where it almost tasted flat. This mellows out to where it seems even more approachable. Even though you know that whatever it is a higher proof. But this is really good. Let's go into C. So this one almost gives me a little bit of a, I don't know, like a peanut shell. Something, get some sort of a, like a peanut shell in addition to more of that sweeter, thicker, richer honey. So honey, peanut shell, The cinnamon candy note has tapered a little bit, but definitely get more of a peanutty taste on this one this go around. I think I have a winner. So coming in at last place and letter B, it is Widow Jane Decadence. I'm not knocking this by any stretch. When you have 4 whiskeys up here that are as strong as all 4 of these are, it's very difficult to go 3 and 4 sips deep in a 91 proofer. I believe it's 91 proof. Yeah, it's very difficult to go 3 and 4 sips deep in a 91 proofer when the rest of these are higher than or greater than or equal to 125 proof, solely because the way that these attack your palate, it mutes this one. This one pretty much says, sit down and shut up, we're in charge, unfortunately. I highly recommend this bottle. This is still going to be one of my favorites. I will buy and back up every time I have an opportunity to get this one, unless I'm buying something else that I haven't had before, which is why I passed on the Widow Jane Lucky 13, which I mentioned in one of my other videos. All right, so the next one to go out was D. No, say it ain't so. Stag Jr., aka Stag. So I think that when it came to this one and this particular blonde, it had a lot of similarities to A. So it was one of those that was a little more difficult to shine through like it usually does. I've had this at the end of long nights, at the beginning of great days. As you can see, I'm not even a third of the way through the bottle yet, solely because I don't have a backup. This is a special occasion bottle for me at this point. It will still remain a special occasion bottle to me. Again, as I said at the beginning of the episode, when you go into these blind tastings, you almost have to throw everything you think you know about your bottles out the window. Primarily because you're solely given into your senses. Not what you think you like, not what you've enjoyed on some occasion where something stood out to you, but solely what's lined up here in front of you tonight, how you're feeling at the moment, what they taste like, what they smell like. So, still one of my favorites. Surprised it ended up in third, but now that leaves me with 2 more left. So, second place, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. This was a little bit more difficult to decide on. As I narrowed it down to this one and then the number 1, the Booker's, the thing that really stood out to me is that even though some of the flavors were being a little more muted by the proof of these 2, I kept getting different notes on this one. Even on the nose, it would go from vanilla to caramel. And then at the end, when it went from honey to more of a peanut shell, it just really had my attention. It was one that kept switching up flavors every single sip. So this was good. I'm not gonna lie, all 4 of these, if you see them out, buy them, back them up, buy them for a buddy, share them with as many folks as you can, because all 4 of these, I would love to hear anyone in the comments that does not like any of these. And the only way I can say you wouldn't like this, or this is if you're just not into higher proof whiskeys yet. And this one is one that I know some folks don't like finished whiskeys, but I'd put this up against just about any 90 or 91, any 90 to 100 proofer, even with someone new to whiskey. I would throw that one in the mix and see if they liked it. This will be the one I'm gonna get my wife on the blind sooner rather than later. We're gonna throw this one in the mix because she thinks all of these just taste like pure alcohol or pure rubbing alcohol, as she says. I would love to get her take on this one. That wraps it up for this one. The winner of 2023 goes to Booker's Mighty Fine Batch. It was definitely a hard-fought battle amongst the other three. There are no losers in this one, as much as I'm not one for participation trophies. All four of these are amazing to me. If you've enjoyed this content, again, don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on your notification bells, stay up to date on all things Simple Whiskey. I'm looking forward to a lot of new content this year. We'll be doing a lot more blind tastings. We'll be doing some bottle reviews. We'll be doing some more top fives and informative videos and things like that. So thank you all for the support. Looking forward to providing you with more content and information in this year. Until next time, as always, drink responsibly and keep it simple. Cheers.